Welcome to today's panel on industry-connected learning. During this session, companies will learn how to tap into the next generation of talent coming up through the STEM pipeline. Educators will be seen for the crucial role they play in connecting students with opportunities. And our young people will be exposed to programs that can inspire their very own STEM start. My name is Carolyn Kirk, and I am the Executive Director of the Massachusetts Technology Collaborative. We are a state economic development agency focused on boosting tech and innovation all across our state. I also serve on the STEM Council for the Commonwealth, which is hosting today's STEM Summit. I am joined by 4 leaders who oversee programs representing diverse areas of STEM. As they introduce themselves, they will also share a little bit about why they are passionate about STEM careers. They will then provide an overview of the programs they oversee. For me, I am passionate about STEM careers because STEM jobs are everywhere. I saw this most clearly when I served as mayor of the city of Gloucester for 7 years. We had to deal with architects and engineers when building a new school. I had to sign off on specifications for highly specialized equipment for public safety and public works. We found ourselves dealing with engineers, chemists in laboratories when we had an emergency with our water treatment plant. And then we had to explain the problems to the public in a way that they could understand. All of the people we dealt with in these situations were educated in science, technology, engineering, or math-based programs. STEM jobs are everywhere, and I'm passionate about exposing our young people to STEM career paths as early and as often as possible. Now I'd like to ask Ken Turner to introduce himself and tell us why he is passionate about STEM.
Good morning. Thank you, Carolyn. And thank you for bringing us together to talk about STEM, which I know is a subject that is near and dear to all of us here this morning. I want to just pause for a moment and thank my fellow panelists as well, and to just say to them what a pleasure it is to share the virtual stage because leaders like them make all the difference in where we're going as a Commonwealth. So my name is Ken Turner, and I have the pleasure and the privilege of serving as the president and the CEO of the Massachusetts Life Science Center. What excites me the most about STEM is that if you look at the projections from our industry partners at MassBio, we are expecting 40,000 net new employees in the life sciences ecosystem in the next 3 years. Many of those jobs are going to be filled by those with an interest and a passion in a STEM field. And I think we have an unprecedented opportunity in front of us to ensure that those jobs are filled by women and men of color and people who otherwise would have been overlooked by our industry. It's an incredible time to be thinking about a career in the life sciences, an industry that helped save the world, literally, during the COVID-19 pandemic. With that, I'm excited to run through just a few of the slides later as we talk, but I'll turn it back over to Carolyn.
Thank you, Ken. And now I'd like to introduce Pat Larkin.
Carolyn, thank you. I'd also like to thank my colleagues from Mass Tech and Ken for your strong leadership of the Mass Life Sciences Center. My name is Pat Larkin, and I'm the director of the Innovation Institute at the Mass Tech Collaborative. And why am I excited about STEM? We really consider STEM to be the face of innovation in the Commonwealth. The disciplines that are embedded within STEM are really the activities that drive the products, the processes that really create growth in our innovation economy. And we welcome all of the industry and our talent to engage around this important discipline. The Innovation Institute is a division of the Mass Technology Collaborative, and we really are focused on supporting growth in tech and innovation in our Commonwealth very broadly. We have a number of programs and activities that we undertake, convening some key sectors in the Commonwealth, from artificial intelligence, robotics, quantum, blockchain, to providing services in these disciplines to help grow clusters in the Commonwealth. And we manage a number of public purpose investment funds, from a collaborative research matching grant program to a tech and innovation program, to really support the activities of our work. So with that, I'd like to just turn it back to Carolyn.
Thank you, Pat. And Christine, over to you.
Hi, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here and part of this panel today. I'm here as the director of the Center for Advanced Manufacturing, and we are all about creating a manufacturing ecosystem here in Massachusetts, from innovation through production. And we've seen manufacturing over the decades change considerably. Manufacturing isn't what it used to be. It's, often referred to as that dirty, dark, and dangerous, but it is no longer. And this new world of manufacturing requires digital skills. And I'm going to share with you later how we can educate our workforce from the entry level on up, and we're here to support that growth. And these digital skills is what makes me so passionate about STEM.
Great, thank you. And Stephanie, please introduce yourself and tell us why you're passionate about STEM.
Well, thank you, Carolyn, and to the rest of the panelists. This is a great event this morning. I'm Stephanie Helm, and I am the director of the Massachusetts Cybersecurity Center. My background is I had a career in the Navy for 29 years. And as you can appreciate, our military workforce has to have a background in technology and understanding all the new innovative techniques that are out there. Coming to the Mass Cyber Center, I have been able to channel some of my interest in the STEM world as we sort of develop workforce initiatives and the resiliency for the Commonwealth's ability to provide cybersecurity within our communities. So I think that we've got a bright future for cybersecurity, because cybersecurity folks are the good guys in against the hackers. And I think that we have great opportunity, and we'll talk about that later this morning.
Great, thank you. Thank you to our panelists for being here today. And now what we will do is we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into each of the programs that you oversee and that showcase the opportunities for our young people to tap into and be exposed to the careers in STEM. So Ken, please take us through some of the programs at Mass Life Sciences Center.
Thank you, Carolyn. I'd love to. Let's start with one of our oldest programs. The center was formed in 2008 with the passage of the Life Sciences Initiative. And so one of our very first programs is our Internship Challenge. This is a program that I get asked a lot about as I travel throughout the state. We provided more than $35 million to support internships and apprenticeships through our Internship Challenge alone. And more importantly, I think, is that we've created more than 5,000 internships over 900 companies across the Commonwealth. This program is specifically geared towards our startup and medium-sized life science companies, but we make our internship portal available to life sciences companies of any size so that they can have access to some of our top and rising talent here in Massachusetts. Next slide, please. So our high school apprenticeship program is up next. We've invested more than $21.5 million in equipment and professional development funding in over 240 high schools and middle schools throughout the Commonwealth. Funding has served schools in all 14 Massachusetts counties and all 26 gateway cities, as well as all of our vocational and technical high schools with life science programming. What we also do is provide targeted support for lab training in specific high school districts, such as in Brockton and New Bedford. And then after the training, fund an internship for those students in post-lab training. We're always looking for more internship host companies So if you are a life science company who wants to host our future talent, please reach out to me and my team. Next slide, please. And finally, I want to share a rundown of additional programming we offer throughout the year that focuses on workforce development. We just closed a successful round of our Workforce Development Capital Program that will support training programs that address critical skills and talent gaps facing the state's life science industry. We've also targeted internship programming, provided opportunities for HBCU students in other strategic areas such as data science. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Carolyn.
Great, thank you, Ken. And I have a number of questions that I'll be asking you as we go through the Q&A session. But for now, let's hear from Pat on the programs run through the John Adams Innovation Institute.
Thank you, Carolyn. I think with the success of the life sciences internship program, the state legislature in Massachusetts created an internship program that would be more generally available to all the tech sectors in the Commonwealth. They did that in 2013. And unlike the Life Sciences Center, they did put a statutory requirement for a one-to-one match for companies to bring on interns. We do believe that this is really the sowing seeds for the future of our tech and innovation economy in Massachusetts. These internship programs really are about what we call student capture from the 114 colleges and universities that exist across the Commonwealth. It provides students the opportunity to get in the doors with our companies and really get a look at what's going on in these firms, what's exciting, and really to engage with these startups in the ways in which they build their networks and start their careers there. We've seen no real drop off in the interest around internships since COVID. We have student interns at firms like Cuseum working on software development to help museums, cultural institutions, and public attractions manage social distancing. At Armored Things, students help build heat maps of people and alerts on overcrowding to maintain social distancing. This program is about the future to support the disruptive startup companies in our state. The hardware firm of Form Labs hired a 2013 intern from our program that went on to file several patents, and today is really a critical piece of this firm that's now valued at $2 billion. So really, internship is about opportunity, innovation, and growth in Massachusetts. The next slide. Mass Robotics Jumpstart high school program, brand new program in a startup phase, really takes internship to another level. This is a program that's intended to really provide fellowship opportunities for high school girls in the first cohort coming out of the Boston school systems, women and young girls of diverse and underserved populations, to really provide them an opportunity to see and experience what goes on in a robotics firm. They provide training and curriculum, mentorship, tours through different firms, and then an internship opportunity that takes place after this fellowship period. Just to give you one sense of the innovation they've created, they like to organize these internships in which two intern girls go to the same company together so that they have, at that age, a real friendship and camaraderie, and it really leads to them sticking to it longer and really getting a full experience. The next slide. Of course, Hack Diversity is just a great program of ours that we have supported through originally with the New England Venture Capital Association. It's now spun out to its own program. This is a program that works with fast-growing tech teams in Boston to identify, develop, and equip high-performing Black and Latinx tech talent to really launch their careers in Massachusetts. And they recruit their participants, their fellows, from all of the universities, the state universities, public universities, they've had community colleges, not just our MIT and Harvard institutions, and take them through a level of professional development that really readies them for entry into our tech economy in Massachusetts. And they do it in a way in which they also work with the firms themselves to orient them toward what it is like and how to make it their firms a friendly environment for our talent from diverse populations in Massachusetts. This is a program that really has had a transformational effect on many of the individuals that participate in it. It's built its own core cohort and camaraderie that I believe is going to continue to have ripple effects in our economy as we go forward with our tech firms.
Thank you, Pat. Really exciting. I'll have questions for you too. Christine Nolan, please take it away and tell us what the opportunities are in advanced manufacturing.
Sure. So, as I mentioned earlier, manufacturing isn't what it used to be. And this future of manufacturing is tied to what we call Industry 4.0. And what we know with Industry 4.0 is it's going to require a more skilled workforce. So Industry 4.0 is, it's using technologies and processes and a trained workforce that's going to deliver, efficiencies and operational excellence. And these are using technologies such as robotics and automation on the floor, IoT, and machine metrics, watching what's happening at the machine level to deliver efficiencies and better product in the end. So what are we going to do? How are we going to get that trained workforce that we need? Because our industry is concerned about the ability to find this talent and upskill their current workforce. The good news is here in the Commonwealth is that we are creating this workforce. So, and I'll show you a little bit about that. Can move forward, please. So we are providing here, working across industry, academia from all levels, from our high schools up to our community colleges, and then of course through our university system, a workforce that is trained in these new skills. And we're going to start with the advanced manufacturing skills that are being offered at our Voc Tech high schools, at our new innovation pathway schools that have advanced manufacturing training programs, at our evening programs at these Voc Tech schools, our CTI programs. And they're offering all kinds of training. 50 different programs are running right now in CNC machining, welding, basics of manufacturing like blueprint reading and shop floor training. And of course, like the robotics and additive manufacturing, places where we know kids can get engaged and that they have the interest in that 3D printing and robotics. And so there's opportunities for industry to get involved at these schools and help. First, it's going to help them find their pipeline that they're looking for, but it'll also help develop these programs to make sure that they're meeting their needs. So it's an exciting opportunity for industry to get involved. We would encourage industry to connect with the Mass Higher Workforce Boards or connect with me, and I'll certainly point you to the right place. So that's, like I said, it's the basic advanced manufacturing skills. And now if you can move to the next slide. Next, we're working with our community colleges across the state. And you can see the community colleges here in the map that offer advanced manufacturing training. But what we're doing here, we have worked with a new program called MassBridge, where we've gone out and connected with industry to really understand the skills they need, the core competencies that industry is looking for, from things like data analytics, problem solving, communication skills. There's 10 of these core competencies that we're going out and working with our community colleges to implement this new, it's not a full new curriculum, but enhancing the curriculum to really get these students the skills they need to participate in this Industry 4.0, this new future of manufacturing. So take a look at these community colleges. The programs are fantastic. We currently have over 300 students piloting this new program. So there's opportunities to connect where we have industry, for instance, putting programs and projects in place, evaluating projects and connecting to this pipeline and inspiring this new workforce. So really exciting. And again, feel free to reach out to me if you want to get involved and connect to this work.
Thank you, Christine. And then Stephanie, take us through the program run through the Mass Cyber Center.
Thank you, Carolyn. Cybersecurity is, front of mind right now with everyone. It's not only of a national security interest, but if you have a laptop or a phone, you understand it is important that your data is protected and that malware stays off of your systems. All of the previous sectors that we've just talked about, advanced manufacturing, the innovation economy, mass life sciences, all of them have a requirement to have cybersecurity embedded into their programs, and they need professionals that understand cybersecurity. And those professionals come out of a STEM background, that they have to understand the technology, but they also have to be able to be creatively thinking about how cyber might be used against a system or against a person to trick them into getting malware onto their system so that they lose money or something like that. So the cybersecurity professions are the good guys. They come out of the STEM field because they need that foundation. And one of the programs that we have at Mass Cyber Center is the Mentorship Program. This is a very individual one-on-one program where the mentor is a cybersecurity professional. That person may be doing things like forensics, or they may be running a security operations center. That professional has some experience in the cybersecurity world, and we pair them, we match them with a student that is interested in cybersecurity, that's a diverse candidate from either a diverse background or a woman, because we need to include diversity in the cybersecurity talent pipeline, because that sort of broad thinking helps us to improve resiliency. So this program is a 3-month program. The student makes an application, the mentor makes an application. The application forms are on the Mass Cyber Center website, and you can see we take students from across the state. We match them with people that are in companies that are across the state. For 3 months, they work on a project, and the student gets to understand what it's like to work in this industry and see all the variety that's available. Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you. And then we have contact information for each of the programs, and all of this information will be available in conjunction with the contact information, links to the program information, etc. So at this point, I really just want to start drilling down even further with our panelists to talk about some of the challenges that maybe are faced. In my remarks, I talked about, there's a role that educators play. There's a role that students play. We have to get them connected. There's a role that industry plays. So I'm going to kind of jump around the screen a little bit and start with Pat Larkin. And you talked about the robotics program, the high school specifically. So if I'm that girl in a high school, how do I even learn about a robotics internship that I can sign up for at Mass Robotics? Take me through that infrastructure.
Yeah, there's really 2 ways to do it. First of all, anyone can reach out to our organization, and we make the introductions and network the individuals of interest. But Mass Robotics itself is really engaged in an outreach activity, working with the Boston Public Schools, and they plan to move out elsewhere. One phone call to Mass Robotics gets the interested student engaged or the interested school engaged with this fellowship program that they have organized. So that becomes their touch point, their access way to really the universe of this dynamic field of robotics that exists in the ecosystem around them. So really, that touch point is the key.
One phone call can unlock. Okay.
Okay.
And then I'm going to ask that question to Ken, Stephanie, and Christine. Think about the answer. So, and again, we're trying to bring that student in. So Ken, I'm that student, don't know anything about life sciences. How do I learn about that pathway?
Thanks for that, Carolyn. I mean, so there are a couple of ways to think about it in terms of our programming, because we have internships that are focused at the college level, and then we have internships that are focused at the high school and middle school level. So let me talk about the college level first, because I think that that's just easier.
Yeah.
As most students, progress through their courses in college, it's natural that at some point in their, if they're in a science or a STEM program, that they're going to be offered either an internship or a co-op. What we do is make sure that in that mix of internships and co-ops, that the Mass Life Science Center portal is available to the students. And so what the students do is just simply go into the portal, input their resume, and then the companies actually search the portal and pair themselves up with the students. We don't do that. We allow in effect the individual that's going for the co-op or the internship to connect to the industry partner directly. And that program, as I mentioned earlier, has been wildly successful, and it's our oldest program, one of our oldest programs. But that's very straightforward. The high school and middle school one is the one that I think is a bit more exciting, because there, you don't traditionally think of high school or middle school kids doing internships. Now we call it the Apprenticeship Program, but it's really an internship. And where that comes down to, in my thinking, is it's all about the teachers. It's all about the professors and the instructors at the school. We actually fund training for those professors, for those teachers, for those trainers, so that they are aware of our programming, that they have access to our capital equipment. So we outfit a number of those labs across the state, and we're proud of that. But it really comes down to the instructors and the teachers. So we make sure that we set aside funding specifically to train them so that they can do outreach for us directly to the students.
That's fantastic. So on one hand, you've got sort of the matchmaking portal.
Yeah.
Yep. And then you've got that face-to-face connection embedded in the schools with teachers funded to advance.
And think about it, when you're in high school and middle school, so much of it is about role models, right?
Yeah.
We all have teachers that inspired us, that mentored us, that coached us, myself included. I mean, it's just, they're the ones who kind of bring us along, and then we start to think about what our careers, would possibly be as we start to think about, going to college.
Yeah. And then Stephanie, you have, a lot of students coming through that mentorship program. If I'm sitting out there and that's a brand new program that started it from scratch at the Mass Cyber Center with no funding. How did you activate the students? How were you able to reach them? How did they know to sign up?
The program is designed for college students, and we have a cybersecurity training and education working group where faculty members actually participate. So when we launched the program, we notified the teachers, the faculty members, that the program was available, and encouraged them to encourage their students to apply for the program. So that's one way that we got the word out. And it was really a credit to the faculty members that looked through their deserving students and said, this person belongs in this career field, and I think they should make an application. The other way they can do it is just go to our website, and the student can fill out an application form directly. What will happen is we'll get a number of applications, and then we match the most interesting and motivated students that with a mentor and do that. So this time this session, we have 40 students matched with 40 mentors.
Great, super. Then so I'm hearing that theme and that's one of the things that I wanted to draw out is really showcasing the role educators play in inspiring it really just exposing our young folks to these opportunities and these careers wherever they may lead. Christine, how does it work over in advanced manufacturing in terms of your programming and getting students aware of the opportunities that exist?
Sure. So, everybody knows and is aware of the supply chain issues that we're seeing right now.
But if I'm 16 or 18, do I really know what the supply chain issue is?
No, but they know that there's lack of semiconductors or things, but overall, we want to reshore. But in order to reshore a lot of this manufacturing, we need to have this workforce in place. And so what we want to do is we're working on a whole awareness campaign around that Massachusetts makes things here. And to get involved, our tagline around this is make a difference, create a future, because manufacturing offers kids the opportunity and students and career changes to really make a difference in developing new technologies and creating things. And so we're really excited about this new awareness campaign that's going to be launching across the state. And where these campaigns are going to point everybody to is a new website, a one-stop shop that's going to show all the training opportunities that are available for interested people. And it's going to show at our Voc schools who offers advanced manufacturing. It's going to show our community colleges. It's going to also show the career pathways that exist in manufacturing to really make a great wage. I mean, these digital skills that are going to be required pay more money. And so we need to show people, though, that the jobs are here and they're good jobs. And this is going to be the place to find it.
I love that. It's that awareness campaign through marketing, through that kind of slogan. I hate to, just reduce it to a slogan, but
no, that's okay though.
No, but something that,
as long as people catch on to it.
Right. Massachusetts we make stuff here. And so what I'm kind of gathering is it's a combination of the good old fashioned outreach, right? Pick up the phone, make a phone call, to really strong web presence. These kids are all digital natives. I mean, they know how to look this stuff up in a second and have really good web presence. And then just raise awareness. It sounds like between the four of you guys running your programs, we've got the bases covered. So I'm excited to hear that. Let's just jump over to the industry side. So we've got good connections within the education system, high school, even middle school, great to hear at Mass Life Sciences, and community college and college. And we've got activation in our students, but tell me about industry. So Christine, you talked about industry and community college. Give us an example of how that's working.
Sure. Before I do so, I just want to say, Ken, I'm jealous that you have a middle school program. I'm looking for that, because I do believe that we have to, the younger we can get these students involved.
And I want to go younger, for the record.
I know, yeah.
As I think about,
you're going to be one step ahead of us.
I want
to
go to elementary schools. I literally think we need to go younger.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we're all learning from each other here on this panel, I think. So, one of our larger employees in the state out of the defense industry is General Dynamics, and they're a really good representation of others in the industry that are coming to us and saying, wow, we need talent. I mean, it's what they're all saying, that they need this workforce. And so what they're doing, and we're encouraging industry to do, is get engaged at all levels. And we basically have a framework laid out on how you can get involved at different levels. I think I spoke earlier about how at the community college level, and I was speaking specifically about General Dynamics. I know they'd be happy that I'm giving them a little rest right now around this. they're engaged at their local community colleges, bringing in projects that are real and asking these students to participate and help with them. And then they're actually assessing these projects. And, but for General Dynamics, it's a great pipeline, right? They're connecting into these students. These students are learning about General Dynamics, who's making amazing things. I mean, I just toured, they have big facilities in Taunton and out in Pittsfield. I mean, what they're making from robotic underwater vehicles to hypersonic missile systems, really, really impressive and high tech. I mean, kids are getting involved in this project and I don't want to say just kids, I really should be saying, students and those interested in making the career change into manufacturing.
Yeah, great. And then, so Pat, give us some examples where there's, strong industry engagement. And I love the hack diversity example. And what is the industry engagement aspect of that? One of your stats was, once you go through that fellowship, some of these kids are landing $80,000 a year jobs as a result. And that doesn't happen unless there is strong industry engagement shepherding a program through and really understanding what comes out the other end of that kind of a program. Take us through that a little bit. And if I'm a company, how do I sign up for that?
Hack diversity is a good example of the real opportunity that exists for firms who are motivated to both grow their workforce and to really kind of capture the value of diversity in their workforce. Today, I think that our tech economy is increasingly aware of the importance of diversity to literally improve the competitiveness of their firms, to get a diversity of viewpoints, a diversity of life experiences in their firms. And so a partnership with Hack Diversity is not an arm's length agreement. It is a partnership where you literally work closely with them and participate in their fellowship programs, in the professional development activities for the talent on the Hack Diversity side. And at the same time, Hack Diversity works with firms about their own workshops, curated discussions designed to address topics such as unconscious bias and inclusive hiring practices, equitable talent development strategies, really making the firms more responsive to the needs of this kind of population base. And yes, they have an opportunity to tap in what the cohort is an underemployed cohort. These are individuals who have four-year degrees, who are aspiring for better employment opportunities, but for a lot of reasons have had great difficulty in getting it. One example, a young woman has been in the United States from Haiti for 6 years, and she found it very difficult to get out of a billing assignment after that 4-year career. And by joining Hack Diversity, going through the program, getting placed at Liberty Mutual, she's now got a software engineering position there and the kind of compensation that you're talking about, Carolyn, that sets her on a career path now, helps the firm, helps the individual, and helps our larger economy. Those are the kinds of transformational experiences that have been taking place in this program. And it's a phone call away. We put on our slide the leaders of the program, Jody Rose, who's president, and Angela Liu. They'll integrate you immediately as a real partner and a participant in the programming, and you'll get a benefit on the other end, on the floor of your firm.
So before I get to Stephanie on this question around industry engagement, I did just want to jump over to Ken on this topic, because Ken, you talked about this in your introductory remarks, the importance of diversity, equity, inclusion. So talk about that in the life sciences industry.
Yeah, thank you for that, Carolyn. Look, this is what I live and breathe every single day. I kid you not. I've crisscrossed the state talking about what I call three things: jobs, jobs, jobs. But those jobs need to be underpinned by D&I. And I was listening to Pat talk just now, and literally he is talking about exactly what I want to see happen in our life science ecosystem. So look, we've got about 89,000 jobs in our life science industry today in the state. 15,000 of those were created by the Life Science Center since our inception. But we know that we've got another 40,000 jobs coming online in the next 3 years. Every company I talk to, and I'm out almost every week talking to at least one of our industry partners, visiting their company, touring their company, they all say the same thing. They can't meet their talent acquisition needs today. And so if they can't meet them today, imagine the challenge we're going to have as we look forward to another 3 years and adding a net 40,000 jobs. But I think what's exciting is we've got millions of people out of work as a result of COVID, and they're not going back to their old jobs. It's the great resignation, the great quit. People aren't going back to those jobs. So like what Pat was just talking about, that's my vision for life sciences. Let's reach out to these folks and invite them to come into our industry. They go from low paying, no benefit jobs to now solidly middle-class jobs that are a career, upwardly mobile, $65,000, $70,000 jobs in biomanufacturing, as a maintenance tech, as a QA specialist. In fact, Christine and her team and I just met this week because one of the things we saw was there's an intersection between what she's doing over with advanced manufacturing and the kind of skills that people need there and the kind of skills that we need in our manufacturing of life sciences. So all of this ties together. I mean, it really does. It ties together very neatly. And I think we are at this terrific point where, yes, the pandemic was god awful. It was just god awful. For the last 2 years, we have suffered tremendously as a nation and in the world. But now as we come out of it, I think we've got a grand opportunity to hit the reset button and bring so many people into the middle class through the industry jobs that we have available that we cannot fill today. But it's going to take outreach, it's going to take training, it's going to take funding, and it's going to take leadership to do that.
Yeah, great. I really see the opportunity, and the it's not easy because you've got to expose that under represented population who we talk about broadband. I mean,
Yeah.
we talked about being able to find it on here, but if you don't have a broadband connection, in a lot of our folks in our gateway cities, they don't have an affordable connection. They don't have access. And that's a problem that Mass Tech is working through. But once you lift the veil on that problem and you can expose a whole new segment of our population to these types of jobs, you just opened up a lot of people to be able to enter a pipeline. And here are all the different pathways.
You got to know about a career to aspire to it. Like Stephanie, I'm a native vet as well, right? I'm a nuclear weapons submariner for 26 years. Well, I didn't grow up knowing that I could be like a weapons officer, right? Until when I was a midshipman on my second class midshipman cruise, I went on a submarine for a couple of days down in Charleston as part of my training and got introduced to that field. And so when the time came, I went, hey, guess what? I want to be a missile officer on a submarine.
Right. Yeah, that's why I talked about, my passion is exposing these young people to as many of these careers as possible, because they see so little. So, and I agree with you. I think getting to the elementary school level is really important. But I'm going to jump over to Stephanie. So Stephanie, you have this mentorship program. The mentors are coming from industry. They come from companies, and you have a number of companies. I kicked off one of the most recent sessions, and the list was like 25 companies long. They're all clamoring to be in the program because they know they're going to get
connected. Their future,
to a student, and they're going to do a project, and there's probably someone they can hire at the end of that. How do you get those companies engaged, and what are the challenges that they find? I mean, this is not all roses all the time for all these actors in this system we're trying to facilitate.
Well, there are a number of ways. I mean, obviously the industry knows they need to support the talent development for the Commonwealth, or otherwise they're not going to be able to stay in business. So there's a very real economic reason for businesses to want to encourage any kind of program to develop talent. But the mentorship program I like because it's so personal. It is a professional who decides they're going to volunteer part of their time to work with this future, hopefully, cybersecurity professional and explain to them why this is a valuable career. So part of what we get are mentors that have done it once. We've now done 4 different programs, and we've got, a couple of mentors who have been a mentor every single time. They've taken a student every time. And more importantly, every time they come back, they bring another employee from their company with them that says, did you see my student mentee last time? Wasn't that person pretty bright? Why don't you come and come along? So our mentors are actually one of our best recruiters for other mentors, because they genuinely are enthusiastic about this, and they genuinely want to make the commitment to the student because they see what impact it has on their life. And then they also want to help their company. I think the companies are very interested in advertising that. And we do give the companies, some highlights in visibility because they are obviously allowing their employee to have time to meet with the student. So that's something in their interest. And then we have other organizations. I have a strategy council for cybersecurity. They use their network to advertise this. We partner with the Advanced Cybersecurity Center, which is a nonprofit organization that has a lot of, I think it's up to 25 or 26 companies that participate. They not only do the employees of the center themselves, but the member companies have become parts of the mentorship program. So it is difficult to get that visibility, because this isn't one thing that it's just a program in a company. This is a person willing to give of their own individual time and volunteer and make that relationship with a student, which is life-changing to the student.
Right. That's a really, really good point, is that it's not just a corporate initiative. It is a personal initiative on the part of that mentor to be able to step into that role, take on that student for that period of time, and shepherd them through their project and get them to the end of that program. It's a very, very good point. And that's really maybe a good place to sort of sum up this entire effort that we are talking about here today, because that's true for the educators. I mean, that is, Ken talked about, and we've all been touched by educators who have guided us, mentored us. And so a big shout out and thank you to those educators who inspire those students to take that step, to make that phone call, to go on that website, to fill out that application, to learn about these different opportunities, and really try to say, well, maybe I will get an internship or an apprenticeship or enroll in a fellowship, all these fancy words that we have. And it's a scary thing for some of these students to actually take the step. So big thanks for the educators who hold their hand through the process. Big thank you to our industry partners, the companies out there. We hear from companies a lot that say, I don't know how to do this. It seems so impenetrable. And a thank you to leaders like Pat Larkin, Ken Turner, Stephanie Helm, Christine Nolan, who say, call me, I will walk you through this. We are trying to make this easy for you. And that's what the STEM Council talks about all the time. Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito is a champion, and she'll always say, break down the barriers. How do we make this easy for our industry partners? We need more industry engagement. If it's too much bureaucracy, if it's too hard, it's not going to work. And of course, thank you to the students themselves who we see, and I'm always inspired. I listen to the project report outs from these kids. I'm like, oh my God.
It's amazing, isn't it? I mean, and they're enthusiastic about what they've learned. That's the great thing. And that's what keeps these mentors coming back. It's like, I want to do it again and see that smile of accomplishment
Yeah.
On my face, yeah.
So I'm going to make a call for final remarks, and we're pretty much at time. So I'm going to go in reverse order, and we will start with Stephanie. Just some closing remarks.
Well, thank you. I think this is a great event. I think the STEM Council does an amazing work to get the word out and try to reach students, because this is the future of our civilization, our community, our state. And I just think from a cybersecurity perspective, we're going to be in the fight. We need the good guys to join us, because the criminals are going to continue. They figured out how to make money. They're not going away. So anything that the STEM Council can do to encourage future participation would be great.
And Christine, let's hear your closing remarks.
Sure. So the opportunities are real here, right? And the opportunities to get involved at an entry-level position and take advantage of the training available to you, get you in that door. And then within these companies are laid out career pathways so that you can continually train and move up and to a rewarding career. And it could be starting on the a technician level, but before you know it, right, Ken, you're at Waters Corporation, and it's that move from manufacturing into the life sciences space, and the opportunities are endless to make a difference and create a future.
Thank you, Christine. And Pat?
Yeah, I just would like to comment on how fortunate we are to be here in Massachusetts. When I look at states across the country, I don't think we're second to none when it comes to the quality and diversity of programs we have in the Commonwealth to drive STEM, and an industry cohort that really has been supported and engaged around that. And it's time for us to scale, to create ease of access. But as Christine says, the opportunities are great. The players are out there, the systems are in place, and it's really exciting on a panel like this to be able to expose some of that and continue our work together to allow it to reach more students and more firms, so we can catch up to those numbers that Ken talks about in terms of filling our pipelines for the tech economy in Massachusetts.
Right. Thank you, Pat. And Ken?
Thank you, Carolyn. I again want to thank all of my colleagues here today, because quite frankly, I find you inspiring as well. So this was great. It was a great way to wrap up a long week. And everything that they said, I would echo. It is we are in the right state at the right time at the right moment. Massachusetts leads in so many ways. We have such great people here in our state, and the opportunities are literally boundless. I kid you not, that is not hyperbole. This is the moment. I feel it in my bones every single day. We can help people to really just tremendously change the trajectory of their lives. And I could not be more honored and privileged to be in the role that I am in, because I think that this is a moment that we're all going to look back at 5 years, 10 years from now and recognize that we were able to play a part in doing something really, really good, which was getting people into solidly middle-class jobs with upward mobility. And that is something I think all of us can be proud of.
Well, thank you, Ken. Thank you, Pat, Stephanie, Christine. This has been so wonderful and inspiring, and I hope that we have served our audience well with our presentations, and all of the information will be available. And I agree with the optimism that each of you has for our future and for our state. So thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Thank you. Have a good day.